What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Run It Up. Today on the show, we're going to be playing a $100 buy-in tournament on Ultimate Poker. Yes, that's right. Now, I know maybe like 2 episodes ago, I said to you guys I was going to try to play out the rest of Run It Up Season 2 for sweet Run It Up Bankroll Challenge money. But unfortunately, I then proceeded to play 1-2 on my money, and now this, which is also on my money. So I kind of apologize about that, but I also kind of feel like I didn't really have a lot of a choice here because there haven't been a lot of other good games that I would want to put our challenge on, and I did promise Ultimate Poker to play out the rest of Run It Up Season 2 on Ultimate Poker, so sometimes our schedules don't align of when I can play and when there are games running for us to play. But, so in this tournament, what ended up happening was I actually was just finished the stream maybe like 2 hours ago. Today is Sunday Sweat. We'll talk about that in a minute. And then what happened there was I went and watched The Walking Dead, which was pretty good, although I have concerns and issues, and this is not the forum for that, I suppose. But and then what happened was I registered this tournament about 2 hours late. So I would never play a $100 buy-in tournament. You know, it's the 16th of the bankroll. I would never play a tournament for the Run It Up Challenge bankroll 2 hours in. You know, that is a little silly. That would be a little silly. So this is sweet JCarver money, unfortunately, but I have managed to run it up regardless. It was actually within maybe like an orbit of registering. Actually, no, within like a hand, I ended up doubling up with an ace queen against pocket nines, and then from there it's just been sweet, smooth sailing. So let's talk a little more about this tournament. The tournament's been running for 2 hours and 8 minutes. As we've said, I just registered a little bit before the break. There are 49 players left in the event, 84 players having started. Bit of an overlay because it is a 10K guarantee. So blinds are 500 to 1,000. Average stack is 35K, and we are currently 9th. So, pretty good position for us, all things considered. I mean, we have over average, and at our table is actually pretty well stacked. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players who have like pretty solidly, you know, above or around average. Razard is actually 5th in the tournament, so he's kind of up there, although nobody, I guess, has a ton. Luck is Real is the only player that I recognize, although I guess I must have played with this guy before because I have him tagged. Actually, I guess I recognize a couple more of these guys. Feels Good Man, Killer Rot, Bandsman. I recognize these guys, and I must have played with him before at some point in my life as well. So everybody seems like a tournament reg. I've seen everybody around before, so the only player that I really remember anything about, though, is Luck is Real, and we know he plays a lot of tournaments. I met him once this summer during the World Series. He is a good player, plays a lot, and probably is not going to be making too many like, you know, pre-flop decisions being like one way or the other too silly. So having position on him, though, I feel like we'll be able to kind of put him in a cage, and we'll design him a cage here. So my plan with this video is to kind of talk a little bit more about like in-depth tournament strategy as the play goes on. I feel like people were asking me today in the Twitch chat, which I believe we're going to post on YouTube, if you guys probably already is posted by the time I say these words. But I really enjoyed the kind of more serious tournament breakdown, especially live. There's a lot. I really love the live tournament casting elements. I mean, it's like one part casting a tournament and one part teaching tournament poker. So I really love this style of video making. I mean, I just did this for 3 hours, and here we are doing more. So my plan for these videos is to kind of go in a little bit more about what I was talking today earlier on stream, kind of break down some more spots, look for spots where we can try to accumulate, where we can find spots to attack and pick up the blinds and antes where maybe other players wouldn't, or where we can defend our blinds in positions where other players maybe wouldn't, where we can defend our buttons in spots where maybe other players would say no thank you. And that is what's going to happen here because I'm not the folding kind of kid. So you could just fold here and say, you know what, I'm just out of here. It's not for me. But I like raising here instead. I mean, calling would be okay, but I used to call here, but I think calling is just bad. You got to give the guy an opportunity to fold pre-flop. I think in most cases, until you have a suspicion that he's going to be too aggressive, you have to give yourself a chance to win pre-flop. And I think it also helps to represent good hands because like in spots like this, if we both miss, if I just call, he usually wins. But in this operation, as things have rolled out, I think if we bet like 60, I want to bet enough that he folds hands that are like on the verge. Like I don't want to bet too much because he's not folding any pocket pair no matter what. But I just wanted to bet enough that like if we bet like 4,200 with our exact hand, if he has ace jack, he might be like, well, he bets so small, I might as well just call. Like, I don't want to encourage him to, like, accidentally make the right decision there by betting too small. But that being said, a lot of the hands that are going to fold to our bet either are or aren't folding. Like, hands like pocket sevens aren't folding no matter what we bet. Hands like Jack 8 suited are probably always folding no matter what we bet. So I think betting on the smaller side, right about where we were, is in the right ballpark. I cannot wait to put 2,000 chips in this pot. 8,300 in there. Let's see a flop. 4-1, over 4-1, and we're so deep. I'm thrilled about this situation. Less thrilled about the 3 cards that have been dealt out, but there's still a chance we can win this hand. All right, Razzard's given us that opportunity. Thank you very much. Hopefully we've just taken him up on that. So I'm going to proceed on the assumption that he probably has ace-king or ace-queen, because that's how he's played this hand. He made a small re-raise and then checked back. He could have a hand like 2 10s. He could definitely have ace-king. He could have king-queen. You know, there are definitely hands he has that he could be beating us. I think we're going to start here with a check, and then we'll talk about calling if he decides to bet. Quick check means we could win. It's possible. That's right. That's right. Oh, I love tournament poker so much. Tournament poker is just so beautiful. It's just if you can't relish those spots and just go like, oh my god, those spots feel so good. If you don't relish those situations, you're not making your life as happy as it could be as a tournament poker player. Because when people do that to you and they just give you those opportunities where you can just win, get a little bet, and just like, oh my god, that's beautiful. That's tournament poker for you right there in a nutshell. So with that pot, we've actually been propelled to 5th place. We basically swapped places with our friend, although I guess he has more chips than I thought he had. I guess he must have won chips in the meantime. But I'm just going up regardless. It's 47 players remaining. I have been casting all day long, by the way, so I do apologize if my voice is not like as perfect as, perfectly harmonious as it always is, because I know most of you people are listening to me here to hear my sweet harmonious voice. So is there anything else we have to talk about in this tournament, in this situation here, before we just move on to story time and like why I'm wearing a Twitch shirt and like, talk more about, I don't know, Run It Up Reno coming up only many days away. Not that many anymore, only like 5. So yeah, that's exciting. We'll talk about that. Let's talk about that for a little bit. I'm really excited about Reno. More tournament poker opportunities. It's going to be like 9 days where I'm like forced to play poker tournaments every day. That's going to suck. I can't wait. I'm so excited. It's like a forced vacation for me where it's like, oh, sorry everyone, I have to go play poker with Run It Up Warriors for 9 days in Reno. I'm sorry. I can't answer emails right now. I'm sorry. I'm busy playing poker. I cannot wait for that to be my life status in only 5 days from now. Headed off to Reno, going to be playing as much poker as I can there. Really looking forward to meeting as many of you guys that are going to come and try to degen it up with me. I really would like to make sure that the main event trophy stays within the Run It Up family. Martin the Hitman Campman, UFC welterweight at the one point high level contender, was the champion of our last event. So, really, let me just say, come on, we gotta keep it in the family, boys. So really excited for all that to be coming about. If you can't make it to Reno, it's okay. I understand. It's hard. It's far away. If you live in Croatia or Warwickshire, it's a far flight. I get it. I understand. We'll be doing more events in 2015, and then there'll be less excuses when they're closer to your neck of the woods. Soon. I don't know why everyone is taking so long in every decision here, but okay, he's decided to call after his studious, evaluation of the situation. He's like, call. Okay, sure. Whatever, buddy. He's just living life in his little like hood and mask over there. He can't see the cards probably very well either. Just saying, okay, whatever. Now the ninja's taking his sweet ass time too because, hey, why not? Why would you be in a hurry if you're a ninja, I guess, with under 10 big blinds? Sure. Oh, he goes all in. Great. Anyway, I promise I won't be casting like that the whole time. I don't think that would be the worst. Maybe it would be the best thing, but I don't think it would be the best thing. Thank God the hand is over. Please, let's move on to the next hand. Almost half the field is out of this tournament. I really kind of was excited to kind of cast this middle stages of the tournament because, as you guys had said in the comments for the first tournament video that we did, I think it was like 225 was the only tournament video that I actually played. You guys were like, oh, we'd love to see some middle stage tournament content. We see a lot of end stage tournament content, and beginner stage tournament content is basically 9-handed Texas Hold'em. which is just like boring cash hold'em, right? I mean, it's deep stacked. It's very similar to cash at the beginning stages, at least, to some degree. And so I thought it would be cool to start in this middle stages and then proceed from there, which is where we are right now, right in the middle of the tournament. If this goes on, this will be a long multi-part series, I would just venture to guess, because we're only 2.5 hours in, and I believe this tournament goes on for a very long time because these levels are long. Levels go up, I believe it's like every 15 minutes. That is insane. It doesn't even say. It's cool. I guess it says because it is 15 minutes. Yeah, it is 15 minutes because it's 5-minute breaks every hour. So that's crazy. That's crazy. I also don't know what to do in this little situation because I'm a man that doesn't like to fold getting like 4-1, but 9-3 is so bad. All right, let's defend here. It can't be too bad to defend. Antes, it can't be too bad. He's a cat avatar. Come on, it can't be too bad. He's got the nut worst avatar, and he's only minimum raised. I can't fold the minimum raised from a cat avatar. Have you guys learned nothing from season 1? So at this point, the question I have for our friend over there is, do we have the best hand? And if not, should we call or should we raise? I don't know. I feel like he only has 2.5 times. He only has 2 times the pot behind. So I kind of feel like we should just decide right now whether we do or do not have the best hand more often. And I think the answer is we just have it too often. We also have a backdoor flush draw if we need it. It's almost a little bit unlucky if we lose this pot here. But I think we can just profitably check raise all in. If he shoves, we're definitely behind, but we can't fold, obviously, for the little bit remaining. We'll just have to hit a 9 or a 3, I suppose. Or alternatively, we can just have to recuperate from there. So the dangers of defending with 9-3 offsuit. Now, obviously, we just got, everyone's like, oh, look, JCarver, you got 9-3, you got stacked by queens. Yeah, of course. Well, that is what happened. I mean, that is true. That's what happened. But if you think about the situation, like, obviously, if we knew this player a little bit better, maybe we know he's super tight and only has, like, 10s or better when he min raises, in which case then we're just burning money. But if there's any assumption, if there's any possibility that he can fold, and of course there has to be, right? We don't know this guy at all besides, like, I recognize his name, but I don't know anything, like, particularly about him. Like, we don't know for sure. He could have all sorts of hands that we are either ahead of, just straight up ahead of. He could just have no pair and say, yep, you got there. I guess you have to fold my ace queen now, or my ace king now, or whatever it is, So there's going to be sometimes he has to just fold. And when he does have us beat, usually we still have some equity anyway. We can always just turn or river trips or 2-pair. We did river 2-pair, just unfortunately, so did he. Hashtag optimism, hashtag silver linings, whatever. That's the swings of tournament poker, I still don't think the defend preflop is all that bad. That's just like the tax that happens sometimes, That's the defender tax, Sometimes the defenders are the taxers, and sometimes they have to pay the guys that actually have queens. I would have felt way worse if he had 10-9 offsuit and then crushed us. Then I would have been like, well, maybe we were just getting destroyed there. When he has queens, it's like, oh, of course he could have queens. That doesn't tell me anything. In this hand, I'm planning on probably just calling, a little too concerned about raising against a big, whatever his name is, Big P over there, Big P 707, I'm afraid of the Big P 707, so my plan is to just call. I think if we made it like a small raise to do a squeeze, it wouldn't be a good spot to do it because I don't know enough about these guys, but it's too easy for them to just go like, I'm all in, and then we're just like, well, we're half our stack with 5-7 suited. It doesn't sound too good to me, so happy to just call. Interesting flop for us. Could have the best hand. Could also be on our way out the door here. We'll find out. Probably not the latter, given that we cover everybody. But I'm a little bit concerned. Once again, he only has double the size of the pot, so it's gonna be, well, okay, that makes it much easier. If he had folded, I probably would have just called. I mean, my plan was to call and then see by the way, what is happening right here is what we just did to Feels Good Man in a slightly modified universe, and now, no problems there. He gets it done. We just showed him the way, and then he just implemented it better than us. All comes down to execution, kids. It's true. Anyway, if Bandsman had folded over there, I would have ended up calling this lead here, and then obviously we would have folded to a raise from behind us, which wouldn't have happened. Seems like we would have had the best hand. I mean, I can't imagine that Big P 707 folded. Maybe he folded a slightly better hand, but probably not too much of a better hand. So I think we actually could just take this hand off. I mean, we saw him, we just lost the pot to him with queens. We have a kind of a bad image. We just showed down the 9-3 offsuit. I think we're probably this opponent is probably feeling his oats over there. He'd just beat us up a little bit. Razard still has a lot of chips behind us. He's probably not in the mood to fold. And then we have two players who could have just re-raised. He could have reshoved pretty easily with a decent set of hands. And Killer Rot is not bad either. So I thought that was a good spot just to take it off. I mean, I always want to try to think about, is it a good spot to attack? Is this going to be a profitable time to steal the blinds and antes? Like, theoretically, you should kind of always be asking yourself that if you're trying to become a tournament, velociraptor. If you're at first I was going to go with a shark, what I was doing, but then I was like, no. Sharks, anybody can be a shark. If you want to be a velociraptor, that's really the trick. And so I think sharks and velociraptors both would probably min raise this hand, though. Seems like a pretty reasonable thing to do. My plan is to call shoves from Big P 707 and probably imaginative. Small raises I'm also planning on calling. We could re-raise, this is sweet JCarver money, and people always assume that, or at least I believe they assume that I'm playing for run it up money, and so I'm playing a little bit more scared pre-flop, which always makes me want to shove in spots exactly like this. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to do it. He did just show down queens, though, but he just saw us have 9-3 offsuit, so he might think we're just being steely. I'm all in. Let's see how this works out for us. It's against the cat avatar. Nice. That's right. Every once in a while, I just talked myself into it. Because at first I was like, for sure calling. And then I was like, what am I doing here? I'm just calling against the cat avatar, trying to flop a 6 or, hold on tight post flop. That's not, I want to get into that game. Let's just take out the old Warhammer. The old cutlass. Give him the cutlass. Right, Phil? You can't see him, but Phil's like, fuck yeah. he's just, the helmet's very heavy. Agrophobic is taking forever under the gun here, but it looks like we're down to 40 players now. 41. How can we be down to 41? Oh, it's 9-handed. Okay. Wow. I thought these were 10-handed tables, and I was like, how can we be full? And nope, I'm just way behind. So 41 players remaining in the tournament. 4 minutes till the next blind level increase, which is not 816. It's actually 750, 1500 for... Okay, sure. All right. Balance movement. So every time that we get moved in tables and tournaments, I always, of course, don't like it. I mean, it gives us an opportunity to find out maybe a new situation, get a whole new lineup of people. But, the old table I felt very comfortable at. I kind of had a feeling of where people were at. I don't recognize anybody at this table. Actually, I guess that's not true. I did recognize him, but he's out. Jay Castle, we played with way early in Season 1. Maybe I recognize Matt Z-Man as well, but could be wrong about that. It's kind of a common name, Matt and something, So can't say for sure, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see. So my goal at this table is to, as quickly as possible, identify the weakest players at the table, as quickly as possible identify the players who are going to be playing most aggressively as possible, right? And I mean, my first guess would be See You Never and Matt Ziman purely by chip count, right? Purely by chip count, my assumption would be these two. Oh, I guess Green Smoothie is in there too. But for some reason, I'm not expecting aggression out of the Green Smoothie. I feel like he's going to just go down like smooth and easy. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about that. We'll just see. So Z-Boy, oh wow, look at this table. Average stack is 45K. That is not a lot of K, given how many people have way more than that at this table. I mean, the short stack is 25K. That's nuts. So we just see Matt Ziman re-raise See Never. So my current leader to aggressive guy is shockingly the guy in the biker jacket. Yes, hashtag stereotypes. That's right. I've actually met many bikers in my life who were sweethearts, even though if I had called them sweethearts, I'm sure they wouldn't like that. But it's true. They are. So stereotypes, definitely overrated. In poker, you have to work with what you have, but still, it's like a fine line. Like don't really hold it to people. At least you have to make deductions where you can, but still. Anyway, my plan is to call here in the big blind. I don't think raising would be too good because I have a feeling both of these players, first of all, Z-Boy is probably not folding very much because he just has a billion chips and is probably not in the mood to fold. Shove It Trick also opened in a pretty early position and just got moved here. So if he looks down at the 6-4 of spades, is he like, oh, I'm going to raise. Let's raise on JCarver's big blind at this brand new table. That's just not going to happen, right? So if that's happening, then I think we should just, if that's happening, then we should raise. But that's not happening. So I think it's fine to just call. Obviously, in this exact scenario, Green Smoothie is mad at what I said, apparently, and is trying to get some vengeance. Glad to see Z-Boy at least held up. A little surprised to see Shove It Rick decide to say no thank you, but maybe he did just have the 6-4 suited. Maybe he was just super jazzed to steal my big blind, and he was just really happy about it. And then Green Smoothie just wouldn't have none of it. 35 players remaining. How many spots pay in this tournament? I don't even know. 9. So the final table pays. 35 left. I guess we're going to be breaking this up into multiple episodes. I guess if it's only one, then you guys know that that's not true. I guess the naming conventions of this season haven't really given away like what the content of the episodes are very often. I feel like I've actually thought about it a decent amount. By the way, this is going to be a significant hand in case it wasn't obvious to you guys, but I haven't been watching, so I really can't say. Actually, I have been watching. The re-raise... Yeah, Green Smoothie was the re-raiser. Z-Boy called, and then I didn't see what happened on flop or turn, but you imagine there was a check and a call involved, probably from K-Boy or Z-Boy. Nice river. And he shows it proudly, because that's right, I bet the pot with the nuts, and you correctly folded. Everybody wins. Pretty much. Okay, I guess that's what was going on, sure. Anyway, at first when we first started doing Run It Up, I just named the episodes what they were. But then I was like, I'm not doing like a poker training series. Like I really didn't want to. So for season 2, I was like, I didn't really ever have like a sit down meeting with myself and decide. But still, I just never felt let's keep with names that are more whatever. People just you can just watch through them or find them. That's what search tags are for. And I try to make it, the ones that are more obvious, like multi-table tournaments, the ones that really stand out, I've tried. I don't know. What do you guys think? I'd love to hear your thoughts on Season 3 naming conventions. Should I just change everything? Should I just write them all in Polish? Apparently, Run It Up, very popular in Poland. It's true. They just love to run it up in Poland. Why not? Why wouldn't you like to run it up in Poland? That sounds great. That's it. You guys are going to see me sponsored by the Polish government next week. Run It Up Season 3 is sponsored to you by Poland. Hello. Anyway, in this hand, I'm going to do a very... my plan is to raise. Unless something strange happens. My plan is to do a very standard line of opening if it's folded to us. Matt Zeman is like, will JCarver re-raise if I open? I guess he thinks I would. I wouldn't. I think a minimum raise is the correct size here. J Castle has an opportunity to either go all in or not, in which case I'd like to risk the minimum in to do so. The fact that both of them can fold makes me feel very good about my prospects of continuing my button min-raising rampage. Certainly, I'm a little less inclined to... I'm definitely actually going to just min-raise this guy, because if you make it 4,500, is that going to deter Z-Boy with 135k? No. Is not going to deter him one hoot. So my plan is to just min-raise if I was going to be the attacker. Now we could call, or we could re-raise Matt Zeman. We just did it against that guy over there. He hasn't seen us do it yet either. So should we? I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Let's make it 80. Let's make it 7,800. Why not? Once again, not the line I would always take, but sometimes he just folds, which is cool. We're risking 7,800 to win just about 7,000. Sometimes he just folds. Sometimes he re-raises and we lose, okay, sure. Sometimes he just calls and then we're going to win more often than our share post-flop, right? That's always cool. So I kind of like this decision, all things considered. He's going to give us a long tank no matter what. We knew that was coming. And I still haven't run out of words somehow, and he's still in the tank. That's right. Get out of here. See, he's a softie. The Polish were like, yeah, re-raise, ah. I'm sorry, I don't know how Polish people are. I'm sure you're very nice. I don't know. Those were the gruff Polish, those were like the farmers, That's right. Maybe I just ruined my deal with you guys. You guys just saw the duration of my deal with the Polish sponsorship of Run It Up deal. I'm sorry, I blew it. It's over. Matt Zeman once again deep in the tank. I guess we're going to just let this one go. I feel like Z-Boy and See and Never are both going to kind of play Sheriff in this spot. Shove It Rick can play Sheriff also, just he's on the button. And there is J Castle also behind us as well. I feel like we have put on enough of a performance so far. See, this is why you just muck the King Deuce, boys. Sometimes you have to just say no to the King Deuce offsuit, You go, but JCarver, you said kings were good. Kings are good, but sometimes you just have to say no thank you. Let's see if we get to see a showdown here. I mean, you would venture to guess that Z-Boy doesn't have nothing, given that he risked 60,000 effectively against See You Never. Not that that happens too often, but you would be a little surprised if he just had, like, you know, King 6 suited. You know, he could have deuces, though. I've seen that play very often with a deuces or a threes hand, where they're like, oh, I was just trying to get him to fold. And then it's like, okay, well, congratulations. That works most of the time. So in this hand, we could re-raise an attack, but we've seen Green Smoothie be aggressive pre-flop enough that I respect him to not necessarily just say, like, let's re-raise here as well. I think calling is fine. We're not going to make any equity mistakes post-flop, or at least I doubt it. 3 ways to the flop. Let's see how this works out for us. Gut Shot City. We are in the market for a 10. Preferably one that is not black. If Green Smoothie bets over 5K, I think we just fold. If he checks to us, well, this is low enough to get me to call. Hopefully the turn is a card that is either a not black 10 or it is just like the 7 of spades, and we can try to bluff on cards that are, you know, not actually good for us. King is actually pretty good for us, right? Because we could very reasonably have spades or a hand like King Queen or King Jack, and it's hard for him to have hands that are better than that. Now, if we had Queen Jack offsuit and had the Queen of Spades, I would be all in 100%. 100% I would be all in if we had Queen Jack with the Queen of Spades, because when he calls us with Ace Jack red and we just like, oh, I guess we're out. Like, you know, that really sucks. But I do not believe this, like, even the slightest. But what are we going to do? Call? Actually, maybe I could have called. Maybe I should have thought a little bit more about being a real snake in the grass and trying to call and hoping the river is either a card that makes him check fold or a spade or a 10. I mean, you know, a spade maybe gets him to check fold to us, thinking we do have the Queen Jack of offsuit or something like in that range. You know, I don't know. I don't know. That hurt me a little bit. We could have called, but I think I don't hate the decision set that we took, but maybe I should have thought a little bit more about taking one more street of hoodwinkery, trying to call turn and see a river, make a decision from there, perhaps something like that. Maybe I could have, but it definitely seems okay. It's just maybe there's a little bit more, you know, wood to be milled in that decision there. What? I don't even know. It's been a long day, okay? There's no more wood to be milled. Get over it. Hopefully this guy is going to just brutally check fold. Unfortunately for us, that's not the case. We could still have the best hand, though, in an optimistic universe. Maybe he just has King Queen. Maybe he just loves King Queen and just didn't want to fold it. He's married to King Queen, you could say. Should we just check? Should we bluff? Bluff? Bet? He called out of the small blind, though, so does he really just have nothing? Ugh. I'm such a nit bitch. What is this? What am I even doing? I'm just checking. Hopefully, if he checks, we actually have a decent shot at chopping, but I would be pretty surprised to see him check here, because even if he has a hand like 2 6s, I would feel like we would hear from that hand. Betting 3,000, he might get himself paid 3,000 here. I wasn't going to call a large bet, but I think 3,000 we can afford. I really think, you know, we're going to chop this often enough. Not that we ever scoop this, but we're going to chop this often enough. We could actually even consider raising a lot, because does he ever actually have a jack here? We could just go all in, right? I'm just going to call. I didn't want to go through the whole song and dance routine. 7's full. Guess he wasn't folding the all in. Maybe he would have folded that hand exactly, though. Maybe he would have, exactly. It's possible, right? It's possible he might have folded that hand if we just shipped to the river. That would be brutal if he could somehow show and fold, and then we could just be like, haha, got ya. But no, that was not to be had. I feel like we're just about zoning in on that 30-minute mark. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this MTT adventure, because we'll be continuing it tomorrow, is my guess. Nice little smiley face from someone in the chat. Thank you for that. I guess this will be the final hand that we play this episode. Let's make it 32 and 50. Let's see how this works out for us. 3,250 from the Leprechaun under the gun +1. How does that sound to the rest of you? See You Never. Thinking about it. Not a habitual tanker, so I guess it's possible he is considering contendering. And looks like he is in there, but we are certainly going to be in there as well. We have a hand that loves to be in fist fights, and so let's see a flop dealer getting a ridiculous price. Certainly too much to figure out, but is like 3 and change to 1, which is more than enough to get me to call. Let's see 3 dealer. Oh yeah. Well, we have 2 backdoor flush draws. If he has pocket 8s, we've also got 2 overcards. But my plan is to just check fold and probably wrap the episode up on this possibly gloomy note. But will he recover and go on to glorious wonder things, or is it just the end of days for our hero? It's like the end of Batman back in the 70s, you know? It's all like doom and gloom. You have to tune back in next time. Same bat time, same bat channel. That's right. Peace. I'm not really so concerned about making mistakes, although maybe we will. We made no mistakes. We made no mistakes, right? Don't be a nitbitch, JCarver. Everybody's just shrieking at the computer. JCarver, you're going to fold on the button with a jack? No, I'm not going to fold. Don't worry. I just won't play the jack-8 offsuit on the button. No sir, no how. Well, fine. If that's how you feel, Mary Poppins, you just keep on folding then. They can't see you if you're all the way towards the back of the pack. It's just right where they don't see the falcon begin to swoop in.